Good morning, and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yori Folani. It's a Friday, and our guest is Dr. Tunji Abayomi, constitutional lawyer. Dr. Abayomi, as always, it's a delight to have you.
I think TVC will start to pay me huge money for writing me at my own cost.
Yeah, but there's a sense in which people identify with their own mediums. So thank you very much for always being there for us. And, you know, we want to touch on a subject. Some might have suspected it, having seen that, they've brought Dr. Abayomi. He's a constitutional lawyer now. What are they going to talk about? Yeah, I guess we're finally going to talk about it. We weren't really minded to talking about the whole matter of, Atiku's relentless pursuit of Tinubu's academic records. It has been dealt with by many other programs in our station, you know, in the evening belt, night belt. And what I mean by that is that there's so much passion, so much emotion behind this subject matter, especially on social media. In fact, there are those who have referred to the whole thing as reminding them a bit about Wole Soyinka's play. For people who are chronicling his plays, they say it was his 8th Madmen and Specialists. You know, so everybody and their dog has an opinion on this matter. But I suppose it's right. But the facts are what they are. Tinubu has been elected the president of this country. Yes, yes. He has been so declared by the Independent National Electoral Commission. And thank God for the country that we have. The decision has been handed down. If you're not satisfied with it, you are free to approach a higher, forum. And this has been done. That is to say, the Supreme Court is the next bus stop. Yes, yes. Now, we have you, so I'm not going to engage in any form, with any pretense of legalese at all. But we do know that you can't introduce any fresh matter at the Supreme Court. I've heard lawyers say it's a court of review more than a court of anything else. Yes. I'll leave all those details to you, sir. Now, the former vice president and presidential candidate of the opposition PDP, he's the person who has really gone all out. He's gone to America, he's gone to the president's former school, Chicago State University, seeking all sorts of material. People have described it as a fishing expedition, looking for what can be brought back on this. And I think the ultimate objective is to unseat President Tinubu, if that must be his objective. All sorts of people are also attaching themselves to it. So I thought our purpose this morning would be, well, maybe just look at it and what are the core issues? What exactly, apart from all the emotional noise going on out there, because you just need to look at comments to all these social media blogs, and you'll then be surprised at what is going on here. But maybe before we go, Prof, just a brief summary. We have a package on this to sort of refresh your memories as well.
The academic records of President Bola Tinubu 2 days ago to his political opponent Atiku Abubakar in line with an order of a United States court. Mr. Atiku, the presidential candidate of the opposition People's Democratic Party in Nigeria's 25th February election, had requested the document to back his allegation against President Bola Ahmed Tinubu of forging his Chicago State University certificate. The allegation of forgery was one of those dismissed by Nigeria's Presidential Election Court in the suit Atiku Abubakar filed to challenge the election of Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Atiku Abubakar at his press conference has called on his Labour Party counterpart Peter Obi and the new Nigeria People's Party Rabiu Kwankwaso to join his quest for justice in the certificate saga involving President Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
The price of liberty is eternal vigilance. They have put the country first in their firm commitment to unravel the truth and hold leaders accountable. This gives me the hope that we have worthy partners in the struggle to reclaim the country we call our home.
One of his lawyers who also spoke said they will tender their fresh evidence at the Supreme Court.
From decided authorities, the Supreme Court has held that they can accept a party to adduce fresh evidence as long as certain conditions are met.
Mr. Atiku, who came second in the presidential election, had challenged the victory of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in court, but lost as the Presidential Tribunal struck out his petition. The allegation of forgery was one of those dismissed by the Presidential Election Court. The presidential candidate of the PDP, Atiku Abubakar, has been silent since the Chicago State University released the certificate of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. He, however, hinted at this media briefing that his fight with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu will come to an end when the Supreme Court declare the final verdict. Habib Alawal, TVC News, Abuja.
All right, then. That's thanks to Bidalawa. And so here we have it. Now, as you know, Doctor, there's been all sorts of emotionalism. In fact, almost to the extent of recklessness, in anticipation, perhaps, of what might happen at the Supreme Court. Some have even gone as far on national television as saying that they have no confidence in the Chief Justice of the Federation and his court. They have no confidence on the judiciary in Nigeria to do that which is right. That is why I referenced Wole Soyinka's Madmen and Specialists at the beginning of the program.
If they have no confidence in the Nigerian judiciary, they can initiate their election petition in Illinois court.
This is where all of this is going.
What I mean? They can go to America like they did with regard to certificate and initiate their election petition. But the only problem is that decision there will not be binding in a sovereign country.
It won't. It
like
won't
Nigeria.
here. And
the judicial power of the Federation is vested in the Nigerian courts.
And you heard that gentleman, I don't know if he's a lawyer or not, that gentleman who was acting as an MC there, sort of reminding us that, again, looking at another hurdle, that the Supreme Court has already decided that it can, upon special circumstances, consider...
That's laughable in law. Very laughable. First and foremost, the Supreme Court will not take any evidence in an election petition case. I made that very clear. I was here before the tribunal decided, and I told you specifically how the tribunal would decide according to existing law. And they have decided just as I told you. I'm telling you now that it's an exercise in futility. The Supreme Court will not take any evidence and will not also review facts, evidence. It will decide, will review law. Look at the law. I can tell you that because it's not a trial court.
Exactly.
Now, let me just say something. I just think this is unfortunate, really, in my view, because if we run for the presidency in Nigeria, and you fail to achieve it, you become a notable personality depending on how you manage the consequences. I remember Tinubu said, let the process go on. If I lose, I'll go back to my house. That is a statesman.
Indeed.
Now, we now have a situation where you're not pursuing any objective, any principle, in spite of the sophistry of representation. You are pursuing Tinubu. But the truth is, Tinubu will be president. He's been elected by the majority of electors in Nigeria. He won election by almost 2 million compared to the second place. He's been defined as president by 5 justices of the Court of Appeal in a tribunal. And he will govern Nigeria and transform Nigeria and make this nation proud. That's what's going to happen.
Well,
the frustration that is displayed. Tinubu is not the problem of the losers, in my view. In my view, the problem of, for example, Vice President Atiku, as I see it, are basically 2. No president has been elected in Nigeria who has moved from one party to another. In the process of doing that, you lose energy, and you lose people, and you lose principle, and you lose regard. That's why no president so far in our democracy has been elected who is moving from one party to another. The second problem he has is President Olusegun Obasanjo's representation of him in his book. A lot of influencers in this nation are affected in their influence on that issue. With regard to Peter Obi, I think he has 2 problems. The East, that is his first problem. And the second one is the co-equal problem, moving from one political party to another. These are their problems. Tinubu is not their problem. But they think wrongly that Tinubu is their problem.
And why this is surprising to me a bit is because they are statesmen all. Atiku Abubakar is a statesman. Peter Obi is a statesman. Kwankwaso, they're all statesmen. These are people that you can, any way you look at it, these are Nigerian statesmen. These are Nigerian statesmen. But the way, especially Atiku Abubakar, the Waziri, Adamawa, has pursued this. It has been called fishing. It has been called a wild goose chase. Mr. Peter Obi has been making all sorts of insinuations. I've not heard very much from Mr. Kwakanso himself. He has been sort of reticent. But it's emotional, and it seems, as you said, Prof, aimed squarely at Bola Ahmed Tinubu. There's no subterfuge they haven't tried.
This thing began not just now. You started so much cacophony, negative cacophony against him before election.
Yeah, there's a lot of that.
Part of everything that was done to diminish him, embarrass him, he emerged as president. As somebody said that nobody, I think it was one of the pastors who said, no human being has been so diminished publicly by different people for unjustly, who can still emerge as president. He emerged. And then you now went to tribunal, as you should have a right to do. Now the same tribunal you went to voluntarily is of no consequence. You have no confidence in that same tribunal. Now, a more disturbing...
Well, he did say he respects the decision, but that he doesn't accept it or something like that.
How can you not
some
accept?
Sort of,
how can you not accept
some sort of sophistry like that?
How can you not? But a more disturbing aspect of it is to misrepresent what happened in Chicago or in America. They forget that there's a difference between a wrong certificate and a forged certificate. There is a difference between a wrong certificate and a forged certificate. A forged certificate is a certificate that is intended, that is untrue, and is intended to achieve a benefit for you. It is untrue. The objective is untrue, and you intend it to achieve, for example...
And it is also based on a false premise.
Yes.
So...
As an example, I went to Ohio State University. The same time Bola Ahmed Tinubu was in America, I was doing my 3rd degree, 76 to 79. That same time, I got my Juris Doctor from University of Toledo. Now, assuming now, I didn't go to University of Toledo, and I presented, because in America, by law, you have to put up your certificate in your office. You have to display it. Assuming now that I didn't get a Juris Doctor, and I now put a certificate from University of Toledo that I have a Juris Doctor, that is a false certificate. A forged certificate.
I get you.
Assuming now my certificate is lost, and I printed one, and I put these different signatories to it. I do it myself, and I put it up. It is a wrong certificate, but it is not a false certificate.
It isn't a forgery.
Because I went to and I went to University of Toledo. If University of Toledo confirms that I went to University of Toledo, and I put a certificate that I went to, and it is not a certificate from University of Toledo. It is a wrong certificate, but it is not a forged certificate.
I mean,
because for the simple reason that it represented the truth that I went to University of Toledo. Error can come from different sources, but in law, before you can accuse a man of wrong, there are two principles you must establish. What is called actus reus, that is wrong action, and mens rea, which is wrong intention. If, for example, I make it and I went to University of Toledo, there's no wrong intention because I'm not representing what is not true. So, I'm only representing that I went to University of Toledo.
So what's the
just wasting time?
So all the song and dance. What is all of that about? As I heard someone ask, how do you go about forging that which you already have? Anyhow,
a man.
You know,
if we see the
because forgery was what Atiku Abubakar took to the US.
Talking about. If we see the transcript, even from the standpoint of common sense, if we see the transcript, Bola Ahmed Tinubu is what you call all A's as professor, one of my
honor student.
But one of Nigeria's most distinguished scholars, Professor Adekola, was discussing with me just 2 days ago. Is what we call an all-state student. He went to Ohio State University. I was in Ohio State University for my first and second degrees. Now, if we look at his transcript, he got 18 A's. 18 A's, 10 B's, and 3 C's.
So what are you forging? What is the allegation of being forging?
Is it the type of man who will forge a certificate? A man who got 18 A's among... Now, keep in mind, as at the time he was in that school, he must be one of the oldest, if not the oldest student in his class. In 1979, I was finishing my 3rd degree. When he was getting his 1st degree, he would be about the oldest student, and still he got 18 A's and 10 B's. Instead of us to celebrate him, as that university celebrates him, as the world should celebrate him, we are going about diminishing the president of Nigeria very carelessly and making wrong representation that, oh, he forged this, he forged that, he forged this. Forged for what?
You know, as I said, it's, and then they're covering all of this. You need to see the passion with which other lawyers are pursuing the case as if there is some wrongdoing. Yeah. But just generally covering the whole thing up, there are some questions that they're asking that, for instance, they've said, well, let me not delay our Comrade Christopher, who has come online. Good morning, Comrade Christopher.
Good morning, Okoyori.
Good morning, sir. Thank you for calling in.
And good morning to your guests in the studio.
Sure.
Good morning.
This is Comrade Christopher calling from Warri Delta State.
Okay.
Coordinator Tinubu Shetima for Good Governance.
Okay.
Okoyori, for some time now, I have been watching the proceeding in the U.S., trying to find out what Atiku and co want to achieve from their suit in the U.S. Okuyori, I wonder whether if United States of America is the one fathering Nigeria in the electoral process when appeal court has given its verdict. Again, I want to beg on behalf of those lawyers, on behalf of Atiku Abubakar, that may Almighty God forgive those lawyers who have turned Atiku to ATM machine in cashing out their money every day. Because
please just stay on the points, please. Let's stay on the material facts.
Atiku Abubakar is just trying to chase shadow for where there is no shadow. Tinubu, we know, won this election squarely. And turning Atiku to ATM machine, it will never give them the verdict they want. All we are playing for now is good governance.
Okay.
That Tinubu is all about.
Okay.
And I want to beg all Nigerians to stood behind this man so that whatever hardship that we are passing through now, the gains after the hardship, Nigerians will reap it.
Okay, well...
The other subsidy is gone.
Indeed.
Tinubu should...
Thank you very much, Comrade Christopher. But I would like for us to, I'd like to appeal to you to stay on the issues. I don't think anybody turned statesman Atiku Abubakar into an ATM machine. He would brief the lawyers. A lawyer can't go ahead if he hasn't been briefed.
Exactly.
So he says that it doesn't matter what it will take.
Yes.
I have the wherewithal to pursue this. It doesn't matter how warped, lacking in substance the matter is. Go ahead and pursue it. Tell me your price. I will pay it. So it is, Waziri Adamawa who has the funds and is exercising his right. But what Christopher said at the beginning is, what is all of this about? And that's the question let me not say all. Most right-thinking members of society are asking. It's just this anti-Tinubu, Bola Ahmed Tinubu as a person, more than anything else.
But let us remember, it is Tinubu now. Remember how much they put into accusing him that he was convicted for drug.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they spent so much energy.
They've called him
and I said, what are you... I was here with you, Mr. Folani, saying that is nonsensical in law. You cannot be convicted without a trial. And without a conviction, there is no sentence. And I was saying, was this man ever tried? And I made it very clear. It was a civil process. I said it. The tribunal confirmed that same position. And if you look at it, they spent so much time. Did they not also spend so much time saying that Federal Capital Territory is a super state?
And all sorts of...
and we are talking
all sorts of Obonge lawyers lent their voice to
something so
fallacy.
elementarily nonsensical. You have so many lawyers talking about it.
The problem is Tinubu.
Yes,
more than
the problem
anything
is
else.
Tinubu now.
It's Tinubu
How can
as
you
a
be
person.
saying that the federal capital is more? We are talking of only election.
Naked...
And I was saying that it is a mere nomenclature. You are talking of electors.
Well,
you cannot have higher value for one election than another.
Fortunately, I don't know how much of this the president is watching. I hope none of it, because he's too busy for all of that. And busy with Nigeria. As he put it, this is a job that we asked for. Yes. And so we're not about to start complaining. Yes. Mr. George, good morning. Thank you for calling in.
Good morning, Uncle Yori. And good morning to the statesman sitting beside you. Uncle Yori, you describe some people as...
They are statesmen.
I don't understand the yardstick you use in that assessment. Because a statesman is determined by his conduct. If the conduct we are seeing by these people you are describing as statements, anything to go by, it will not be right for you to call them statements. I dare say. Uncle Yori, what is happening is something akin to a saying that those who live in glass houses should not throw stones. Mm-hmm. Some of us are not children. I'm in my middle 60s. Mm-hmm. There was this case of Halliburton. Mm-hmm. That case has not gone. There is this case of special purpose vehicles. Mm-hmm. That one has not gone. For someone that is involved in numerous allegations of fraud, to turn around and accuse another person that he has committed fraud when indeed there was nothing like that is laughable. Unknown to these people, they are making the president more popular. You can see that the president is not even saying anything. He's just going about his business, trying to salvage Nigeria. That was the same thing they did during the primaries. While he was going about how to get to the throne, others were busy on wrong paths. But we will get there. Nigeria will not be the way these people want us to be.
Indeed.
It is because somebody has come to say, no, let us do it in a better way. That's what is annoying them. And it will not come to stay in this country. Some of us will not allow them to have their way. The president should just be busy doing his work to make Nigeria better. And forget about this. I don't want to use some words here. Good morning.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Because we're ordinarily, in spite of their behavior, I understand Mr. George's criticism, but, you know, that is the way to look at these people, because you don't get to where they got to be representing political party and having millions of followers. Why will I not call Peter Obi a statesman? Why will I not call Waziri Adamawa a statesman? Why will I not call Tinubu a statesman? It's just that they also are human. And, you know, they're susceptible to mistakes. Sometimes, you know, disgraceful mistakes, but mistakes nevertheless. And I think the pursuit is that, look, let's throw enough mud, and some of it will stick. This is where Mr. George's, you know, comment comes in. Say, so, and you say statesman, what can I say? What else can I say now? So they're throwing mud and hoping that some of it will stick.
Running him down.
Yes.
But the point is that will not affect the work of God. We do as it is said.
And you see,
no more balance.
They're not embarrassing Tinubu. They are Nigerians.
Yes.
All these people
going abroad and talking anyhow about your own nation, diminishing and running down your own president, and the integrity of administration, electoral process,
and even the courts, the judiciary,
and the courts.
You're running everybody down.
Maybe they will choose another country. You understand what I mean? To live in. You know, I think one of them said if Tinubu wins the election, he will move out of.
You know, there's nothing.
He will go to another country.
There's nothing we haven't heard. You know, another statesman said that should Tinubu win this election, he was going to leave this country.
Yes, I said that's what I'm saying.
And then they went and asked him, say, sir, what happened? He said, nobody can send me out of this country. Oh, you now remember that you have a country. You have a country and you're not about to give it up.